What's going on, everybody? My name is j-statik, and this is the Static Sessions. Right now, we're going to be doing a song breakdown for Rajvir Jawanda's new song, which I produced, Radkan Teh Madkan. I don't even know if I said it properly, but I tried. My Punjabi sucks. Everyone who's asking for subtitles, I promise you they're coming soon. Everyone who's been watching, loving all the song breakdowns, all that stuff, please keep on doing so. Keep on sharing, keep on subscribing, keep on liking, keep doing all that stuff. We're going to have tons more coming out as the year progresses. But right now, let's jump into this, give you guys a little breakdown on how I made the song, Rajvir Jawanda's vocals, mixing, mastering chains, vocal chains, all that stuff. Let's jump into it. As you can tell, there's about 40-ish layers in this song. And, he sent me off a vocal and asked me to see if I was interested in doing the song, because me and him have a pretty good relationship when it comes to making music. Like, he loves what I do, and his vocals are just insane. So he sent me off the vocal, and right away, I heard this sample in my head, which I downloaded before, and I just thought it just worked together. So I threw a huge delay on there, not even a little bit, because if I didn't, it would have sounded like this. So you need a little bit of delay, and I go overboard on stuff, so I added a lot more. On top of that, added some Rhodes. So I got the new Nexus 3. So I added these grand Rhodes, threw some chords on it, and it sounds like this. Simple enough. On top of that, my favorite part of the song is actually these chords coming up right now. They're just like little filler chords, but it just made such a big difference. And it doesn't sound like it goes when it's there, but it sounds sick altogether. So I love that. That was one of my favorite parts. And then going into it, we started off with a few kicks. So I started off with this one right here. Simple enough. Added another one on top of that just to give it some more of an old school feel. So as you can tell on both these kicks, I rolled off the lows because a lot of my songs are a little bit more bass heavy, or low end heavy. So what I did was roll off a little bit the lows so that it gives it more attack, and then the bass can kind of take over. This is what I did for this song. Now jumping into hi-hats. Now those are a little bit more old school hi-hats, like very old school sounding. You can hear like the roughness in them and the degrading or degradation or whatever it's called. It sounded really nice. Then I had some new school hi-hats. And then from there I had these doubled hi-hats. It kind of goes along with dolki, dols, and all that kind of stuff. It sounded really nice. Even though I don't have a dol in here, I do have dolki, so I wanted something to match that. Then I had another hi-hat just to give it another old school type feel. I feel like a lot of people don't layer hi-hats. Me personally, sometimes I feel like one hi-hat just doesn't get me the sound that I'm looking for. And then threw in a crash. Simple little old school crash. And then I had 3 snares, which are right here. As you can tell, all 3 of them have different types of sounds. One's like a cleaner sound, one's a little bit grittier, and then the other one's really gritty, really old school sounding. That was necessary because once you layer all 3 together, it sounds like this. One's got attack, one's got this old grittiness sound, the other one's the cleanliness of it, so it sounded really nice. On top of that, I had the 808s. So for this 808 session, I usually sometimes use like a sampler. I'll throw my sub in a sampler and then I'll play the sub line, like the bass line. For this instead, what I did was actually draw out the notes because I didn't need any swinging or any of that gliding type stuff. So what I did was play them and then key them manually using this section right over here, the transpose section. So as you can tell, like these two are, the keys that the root key that they're supposed to be. And then when it gets to over here, I jump it by 12, then jump it down to 5, and then back to normal. That's all it needed. So once I play that, what I'll do is I'll play these raw first and I'll show you what I added to them so you guys can hear what I do with my bass. Now, I know you guys can hear the click. I never get rid of the click. For me, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't eat up any room. If anything, it just gives it a little bit more of a top end thing when I need it. If I don't hear it in the mix, I don't usually get rid of it. Then on top of that, what I did was, I know the sub bass was good, but I could feel it, but I couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear it properly. So what I did was, I love this setting which is in here. So it's bass dark fat. And then I might have played around with some of the settings. I think I did with the high cut and the drive. And that gives it the sound that I'm looking for. And now this is without it. But once I add that, it gets rid of some of those sub frequencies, and I could adjust the mix, which I did, and to let some of it come through. But what I did instead was just add that little VOG or little whatever it's called, little VOG, and that brought back in the low end with the distorted mid range. So you can hear it brings that low end back out, and it just makes the whole thing pound. So once again, I'll show you with and without the effects. Without. And now with. It gives the bass more of like a feeling to it. Sounds a lot better. Now, moving forward, those were the drums. I might have some more drum stuff in here. I'm not 100% sure, but taking a look at this. I had a mandolin tonica. I just throw that in there. Whenever I have to put in a dolki, sometimes I throw that in. It can sound gangster, it can sound lovey-dovey, it can sound whatever you want it to. To me, I thought it sounded a little bit more gangster when I threw that in there. So I had that, didn't really do anything to it. I think I just dropped it in. Yeah, just leveled it out, dropped it in. And you can tell it's like really low in the background. Then I have my dolki, which funny, I didn't actually do anything to this dolki. I left it exactly how it was. Usually I mess around with it, but I didn't in the song. Easy enough. You guys know where it's from. It says it in the title. So on top of the dolki and all that stuff, I had the tumbi that we added in. It sounds like this. It's honestly just in there to fill it up. I don't think it really plays a big role in the song or anything. It just gives it more of a bounce, and I added some reverb and delay because why not? It sounded pretty good to me. I had these other chords that I also was playing in here. Whoops. And if you listen to this. Had that, then I had a lower octave, I believe, or higher octave? Higher octave. So together it sounds like this. And it's nothing crazy, nothing exciting. It's literally from the Hip Hop 4-pack called Strings, Big Strings. They sounded cool. Kind of gave it like a Scott Storch type feel. And I also added this, actually I'll show you guys this first. Talking about Scott Storch, huge fan of a lot of his songs. So this one gave me a little influence from one of his songs. So I used the Storch plugin, which I think is honestly phenomenal. It sounds so sick. Uses Jungle Book flute, and you'll hear what I did. So I think I added that Jungle Book one, another one, which is probably a different octave. Then I got this. This plugin, hands down, is one of the best plugins I've ever used in my life. I think it sounds amazing, better than anything I've ever used. Electra X, everything's super high quality and literally exactly what you're looking for. No shaping needed. Like, it just sounds awesome. I had to give that plugin a shout out. It's too good. Then I have this, and this one, it's a different octave, so I had to get rid of some of the low end, but that's only because I was layering. It sounded so good. Separately, I'll show you what it sounds like. Together, I'll show you what it sounds like. Then I have this. got this. And then together it just sounds like this. It's pretty simple. It sounds nice in that beat. Also added these in. So to me, I'm not a huge fan of using these sounds, but when it came down to this song, the one thing that was missing is when that drop hits and when the beat hits, it didn't have that one little piece of energy that it needed. So in this case, I had to use it and I thought it sounded really good. But me personally, not a fan of that sound, but it just happened to work in the song, like completely worked in it. As you can tell, if I go into these sections right here, I use some, if it's dead sound, I use effects sometimes, like these white noise, laser effects, all that kind of stuff. So in this, we have in this drop, then we got this. Simple laser effect, and I also added this impact. Together, those three sound like this. Sounds kind of cool. And then I had a little bit of a riser as well going through it, vocal riser. Simple enough. And it gives it like a nice input into the drop of the song, which I really like. What I've been using a lot in a lot of my songs has been like scratches. So I have like a good collection of scratches, either some I do myself or I find them on Splice or whatever it might be. In this case, I used it. Simple little scratch. And it doesn't really do anything. It just honestly just gives something a little bit more of a different feel. So that when it goes from the beginning part of the verse to the second part of the verse, it does a little bit something, which I like. That's pretty much the beat. So I'm going to mute these vocals and I'll just play the beat on its own so you guys can get an idea of what it sounds like. Easy. Sounds really good to me. For the second chorus, I added a melody behind him with that same flute pattern. Adds a little bit of, differentiation between the first chorus and the second chorus. I'll show you guys the drums on its own too, just because I'm sure a lot of you guys are trying to figure out why or what they sound like. Ooh, I forgot to show you guys one important piece that I added. It needed that extra little bounce between the first and second kick and the snare. And so I had this little duff sound that I used. So now if I play the drums, you guys will hear, I'll just play some of the drums together. Let's do drums without bass. Sounds kind of cool, gives it a little bit more of a bounce. And then I forgot to tell you guys that I added also an open hat. And that's on every 5th, 6th beat. So. That's it. That's how the beat came together. The beat was pretty easy to make once I heard Rajvir Jawanda's vocals. It was just too good. So now going into the vocals for Rajvir Jawanda's song. Now I have this old vocal that was here that he used. I'm not sure if he wants me to show it, but I'm going to show you a little clip of what it sounded like. So he recorded on his phone, sent it over to me. I think he heard it on he had like a beat playing on one phone. He recorded on a voice note recording on another phone. It's pretty much how I get all my vocal recordings these days because we're not in the same freaking country or city. He sent that over to me and I made, he sent me over the Stay Nantra or the first verse, second verse. Got the majority of the beat done, sent it back to him. He loved it, recorded the final vocals like a couple weeks later, sent it over, and it was a simple recording, which is what I love. He gave me my left and rights and main vocal track, which he was in love with, and then I tuned it. Nothing crazy either, just simple auto tune. Here are my settings: F sharp, chromatic. This song's in Badvi, so being in Badvi, you can do auto tune so that it fits, and it's really easy to do. You can pick the 5th and hit minor, and it'll do it. People are going to say, oh, you have to pick the root key. Yeah, you should pick the root key. It makes more sense too. But I mean, both work. And what I did instead was actually pick F sharp because that's where he's singing. And then I took out the keys that he was not singing on. And in the comments, I've been getting a lot of questions about, how do you choose the keys within autotune. How do you use autotune? Autotune's really easy to use once you understand how to play keys, or once you understand the keys that are being used to sing in a song. So I'm not a crazy keyboardist or none of that stuff, but I know when I hear a song, I can figure out what key it is, and then based on that, I can figure out what keys are within that scale, and then I can set autotune. I know a lot of people have been asking, how do you figure that out? I'm going to try to come up with some music theory lessons. I'm not by any means a major teacher when it comes to music theory, but I know enough that I know how to make music. And if I don't know the rag itself, I'll know when I'm playing it that it's not a typical rag. So I can go find out from friends or other teachers or any of that stuff and be like, what exactly, what rag is this? What keys are involved in this rag? They let me know. It's a good resource to have a lot of friends who are teachers or have been taught professionally. So I ask them for help all the time. I know my Western scales. I know now of my Indian scales, but I never used to know them as much. Jumping into it, being Badvi, got rid of the keys that doesn't need to be within this scale. Set the humanize to 100. I'm not a fan of autotune sound when it comes to Punjabi songs unless they're going for that sound. So I always set humanize to 100, and then I set my retune speed to 11. If the singer's really good, 11 is hard, but you won't really notice it because the singer is really good. Like Rajvir Jawanda, I think he sounds really good. So 11 is just keeping him tight as hell. If he wasn't such a good singer, then I would probably go a little bit harder, 4 or 5-ish, just to make sure he's in key properly. He's a dope singer, so it is what it is. Let's play some of the vocal just to give you guys an idea of what I did. Because there's so much energy in the song, I didn't have to do actually anything to the vocal. I got rid of some of the low end. I threw on some multi-band, so I'll show you guys what the multi-band sounds like. Actually, I'll show you what this vocals sound like raw without autotune. Raw with autotune, sorry. Sounds really good on its own. Now what I did was there was a lot of low end in the vocal recording, so I got rid of it. Then added some multi-band compression, control the lows, the mids, and the highs. That sounds good, but it sounds a little bit dead now, like it sounds like the energy's gone. So I added back in the energy, and honestly, the quickest way to do that for me is adding in JJP and then messing with the knobs. To me, that sounds dope. I added that back in, and then I added in some LA2 waves, so final compression and loudness, and brought it back. So that, to me, that was all I did. Didn't do anything else on it except add in reverb and delay, and I literally just copied the effects into everything else, and that's it. Then once I play these together, I didn't do any grouping of the vocals either. I kept them all separate, which I think made the whole track sound a lot crazier, if that makes any sense, a lack of a better word. Now you'll hear a lot of, I'm gonna let that die down. You'll hear a lot of reverb and delay in that. That's only because my whole mastering chain is on. Without the mastering chain, it would be a lot lower. So it's compensating for the fact that there's no drums, no nothing that it has to master as well. So it's making everything super loud. And one thing I did want to point out was the cool thing was in this song that he sang the song in Badvi, but he had 2 parts where he sang them in the body as well, which is kind of cool because it sounds like it goes off key, but it comes back in. This is just something for fun that I really enjoyed. So if we're taking a look at this, you'll see F sharp, G, G sharp, A, B, they're all on. If you look at this one, got rid of these 2 right here, which is G sharp and A sharp, or B flat, whatever you want to call it. Got rid of him because he was actually hitting those notes in this one. And I thought it sounded really cool. I like the way he did that. Gives a little bit more variation to the song. That's literally it for the vocal chain. There was nothing major in this. And that's it. That's the full song. That's everything wrapped in together. We have our mastering chain, but you guys have seen the mastering chain in general. Simple enough. It's just a widener over here, about 3 dB. I went into the Q2, roll off the low end, roll off any of the side information in the low end, and then keep that as mono as possible. Add in some clipper and then some L2, and you got a track that's loud as hell. And as you can tell right here, that is literally it. Fully tracked, mastered, everything good to go. I think I had this song done in about a week. Like I finished the beat within a day, had the song done within a week. Good to go, just waiting on the vocals, and then we were done. So that is the song breakdown for Rajvir Jawanda's song that we just came out with. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Personally, this song was so fun to work on because there's so many little elements, and it was a vibe that just worked. Like right away, once I sent it to him, he loved it, I loved it. We said we had to get the song done, and he was excited about it. So shout out to him for giving me a shot opportunity because I think he's a dope vocalist. Now, for everyone who's been supporting, thank you so much. Keep on sharing, liking, commenting. I do respond to comments as much as I possibly can. It's a little bit hard. Sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming, but I'm trying as much as I can. Everyone who's supporting, I thank you. Everyone, even if you're hating, I support you. I love it. I love the actual support because it means you guys are paying attention. You guys want this stuff to come out. So for me, I'm happy. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. I got so many more videos coming out this year, all song breakdowns from everyone I've worked in the industry with, from Diljits to, Karan Aujlas to Deep Jundis to whoever it is. I'm working with them, so we're going to be doing these song breakdowns for everybody. Until next time, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that little bell for future notifications. Speak to you soon. Peace.